Okay, so I want to make sure you guys remember, well, in fourth grade, did you guys add fractions at all together?
Yeah.
You did, okay. So I'm gonna assume that, see if you remember, I'll do something like, let's say, 3/10 plus 3/10. You can add those together, okay? And I heard somebody say it, it's 6/10. Okay, so the reason you can add those together is because they have the same denominator. If they don't have the same denominator, you can't add them together. So I could say 1/7 plus 3/7. Okay, that's going to equal what? 4/7. And again, it's because the denominator's the same. You're going to start dealing with fractions where the denominators are not the same, and you need to find what's called a common denominator. Denominator, I'm not sure how to spell that. Do they have it there somewhere?
Yeah.
Common denominator, okay? And so if I had a fraction 2/3 plus 1/2, you can't add those together until you find a common denominator. And the easiest way to find a common denominator is to multiply the denominators. So what are the denominators in 2/3 and 1/2?
It's 3 and 2.
3 and 2. What's 3 times 2?
6.
6 would be the common denominator. Now there's more to it, but I'm just showing you that's the easiest way to find the denominator. Sometimes it's not the best way, but it's often the easiest way, and we'll deal with more of that later. But anyways, let's look at this first example here. They're just talking about a rectangle here, and one person divided it into thirds, and then somebody else divided it into fourths. And then they sort of overlap the lines, and then you can see that that rectangle is divided into 12ths. And then it says the fractions 1/3 and 1/4 can be renamed with equivalent fractions. And so here's one example that says 1/3 is the same as 4/12. And then they have 1/4 is the same as 3/12. These are equivalent fractions. 1/3 is the same as 4/12. It's just labeled differently. 1/4 is the same as 3/12. It's just labeled differently. Let me show you another equivalent fraction. An equivalent fraction of 1/2, okay, could be 2/4. Mr. Lee De La Rosa, give me another equivalent fraction for 1/2. 4/8. Miss McGee, give me another equivalent fraction for 1/2. Not 5/6. What's half of 10? 5/10 would be an equivalent fraction. Okay. Miss Gunderson.
3/6.
3/6 is another equivalent fraction. Miss Adams.
8 over 16.
8 over 16. 8/16. Those are all, they all have the same value as 1/2. Okay? So, we started with 1/3 here, and they gave us an example of 4/12. Does somebody else give me an equivalent fraction to 1/3? Mr. Willard? No? Yeah.
51.
Say again?
51/50.
50 over 150. What Mr. Oldham has realized is that the top should fit into the bottom 3 times. Okay, and then you'll have an equivalent fraction. The numerator would go into the denominator 3 times. Ms. Maldonado. Say again? 5 over 15. That's an equivalent fraction of 1/3. It has the same value. 5 over 15 is the same as 1/3. There's no difference. Okay? Ms. Ugisa.
9 over 27.
9 over 27. Perfect. Mr. Hinkle. 12. Now 12 over 24, think about that.
That's only 2.
Okay? That's half. That's a 12 over 24 is equivalent to 1/2. Okay? So the numerator would have to fit into the denominator 3 times. Let me get one more. Mr. Willard.
3 over 9.
3 over 9. Okay? So I think you guys can understand, have a pretty good grasp of a common denominator, not a common denominator, a equivalent fraction. Somebody give me an equivalent fraction of this. Mr. Graham. What? You lost it? Okay. Mr. Cosgrove. 4/6. He just multiplied them both by 2. That works. Ms. Jennings. 9 twelfths. Okay. Well, let's see here. No, actually,
8 12.
wait, 3.
Oh, because 8.
Yeah, right. That wouldn't work. So I heard somebody say it. I think 8 twelfths would work. Yep. Okay. Mr. Willard.
6 9.
6/9 would definitely work. Okay. One more. Yeah.
12 36.
12.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're saying same time.
Oh, wait. Actually, it'd be 24. 24 over 36 would work. Because 12 goes into 24 twice, and 12 goes into 36 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay. So good. All right. Let's see here. So draw 2 rectangles. All right. So it says draw 2 rectangles, like the ones above, to find fractions that are equivalent to 2/5 and 1/3. So I'm going to draw a rectangle here. And actually, yeah, I'll just draw a rectangle. If I wanted to draw this rectangle into thirds, I'm going to draw 2 lines. Actually, I probably need to move that over just a little bit. This is now in thirds. And if I wanted to draw it, let's see here, how can I phrase this? So look and see here. I just represented 1/3. There's 3 parts of this triangle. Now, if I wanted to represent,
You mean rectangle? Yeah, you said triangle.
oh, I said triangle, rectangle, yeah.
That's the point.
Oh, not every time.
I didn't.
Nice try. So let's say 2/5, if I wanted to represent that with this rectangle, I would need to divide this into 5 parts. So let's see if I can get pretty close here. So there's 1, 2, there's 3, 4, 5. That's pretty close. So this would be 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. So I want you guys to draw that in here. Okay? All right. Let's look at the next example. Find the common denominator for 2/3 and 5/6. And then rename each fraction with an equivalent fraction. So this is a good example. I want you to think about this. A common denominator for 2/3 and 5/6. Now, I said earlier that often the easiest way is just to multiply the denominators. And so 3 times 6 is what? 18, right? But really, sometimes you can just take one fraction and it'll fit into the other. 3 fits into 6 twice. So actually, the simplest common denominator for these two fractions would be 6. Let's see here. Cross out number 1 there. I just want you guys, what time is it here? I just want you guys to do two through 11. And I'm going to put up 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So I want you to find common denominators for 2 through 11, and then also the fractions I'm going to put up right now. Group 2, erase points. I think you have room, I would say, right down here.
Did we write them on a line paper?
No, I think you could just squeeze them in the independent practice right here. You could just put a 12, and then 13, and then 14, and then 15, and then 16. Yeah. Hang on 1 second, because this is still recording. Oh, wait, did I start the recording? I hope I did. Yeah, I did, good. So 2/9 and 4/18. Okay, well, you can find space somewhere. I'm not worried about it. It'd be kind of silly to get a whole separate sheet of paper. All right, so then 12 through 16, I want you to do those also. Let me stop there.